Welcome to the fourth episode of Winning the Journey Within podcast that features Giorgia Sottana, an Italian champion both on and off the court. This is a powerful and unfiltered conversation with Jo, diving deep into her remarkable journey. Known for her instinctive playmaking in basketball, Jo now shares the intentional and inspiring moves she's making beyond the game. From her role as a wife, mother, author, and humanitarian to the wisdom she's gathered along the way, this is a story of purpose, resilience, and transformation. Jo, hello. Thank you for accepting my invitation and becoming my guest on the podcast Winning the Journey Within.
I'm so happy to be part of it, and I really admire what you are doing, so I'm very, very pleased to be here with you.
Thank you. I feel like it's going to be an awesome conversation. You have been playing for a very long time. You are very experienced in basketball and in life, and I love that about you. And I look forward to hear what we have to share today. I normally start asking one question to all my guests, and it's, who are you outside of basketball?
That's gonna take a long time to answer. I'm gonna try to make it short.
Don't say all.
Well, the first thing that comes in my mind right now is I'm a mom outside of the basketball court right now. But I also feel like I have a lot of interest and passions on other things. Like, for example, I love video making and photography. I'm very passionate about it, and I hope in the future this can become my job. I love to write. I'm a writer. I think I am a writer. Sometimes it's scary to say this, but I do love it, so I think I can define myself like that too. And I love to read books. But I think one thing that I'm also very proud is that I'm a volunteer, because in the past 2 or 3 years, I've been opening a basketball school, let's call it like this, in Madagascar, where I help the kids that are poor to become active and taking them out of the streets and use the sport like something else to do than being on the streets. So yeah, those are the things that I think defines me the most right now. Mother, video maker, photographer for passion, writer, and a volunteer.
That's awesome. That is so beautiful. I love that you're doing that, and I hope a lot of us can take that road too as we are finishing our careers and making that transition. But let's go back to your beginnings and see how was it? How did you start playing basketball? What was your road to grab the ball and start going?
Well, my family is a basketball family because my brother played basketball, but before my brother, my dad is a coach. And so I was born into a basketball family because all we talk about is basketball. And sometimes that's not always good, because my dad was also my coach. And sometimes it was very hard to separate the things. Was one of these hard coaches. Maybe you there from Montenegro knows what that means. And when you arrive home and maybe you lost the game, it was like that silence at home. But yeah, that's how I started. For me, it was love at first sight, because, for example, my family tells me that my brother, when he was younger, he was going to sleep with a rugby ball. But for me, it was always and only basketball, maybe because I wanted to imitate him. But yeah, it was always my love since I was a little kid.
Yeah, I hear this a lot, about the parents and their involvement, especially if they're experienced in basketball and in this world. And were you able to manage your relationship with your dad and actually have a father and then have a coach and somebody in basketball? And how do you see that now as you are a mother too? Did that influence how you're gonna raise your kid?
Well, for sure it was, there was moments where it was very difficult to separate the things, especially when you are young and you don't really know how to compartmentalize, that was our art word, the things. So sometimes I think I was confusing him as a dad and as a coach. And I think in some moments of my life, this was also making me suffer as a daughter. But not because it was making me miss something, but simply because I didn't know how to separate the things, and maybe sometimes he didn't know either how to separate the things. And it's really challenging to think about the future with Alice, my daughter, because Kim has the same experience. She has a dad that was a coach too, even if I think he is a little bit different than my dad, but still, like, she was gonna go home and having to deal with the dad that is also a father. And sometimes we joke about it, we're like, what we're gonna do here? And, I don't know what she will do. Now she's very attracted to the ball everywhere. But I hope we are gonna be able to separate the things and just be moms and let the coach be the coach, whoever will be. I don't think I will be the coach, and I don't think Kim will be the coach. Never know, but for right now, that's what I'm saying. And let her take her path without us interfering.
Yeah, it definitely helps that you had the experiences that you had growing up in order to make her life probably better and easier.
Or are there? I don't know.
No, I hear you talk, and I'm sure it's going to be easier for her. But how did that happen? Like, okay, I know you're married to a basketball player, and you two coming to the same house and having the same experiences, and even there were times that you played for different teams, there were times that you played for the same team, and coming home to this kind of environment, was that challenging, or did it help to have somebody like that next to you?
Well, no, for sure we had some challenging times. When you play in different teams, it's hard because you don't see each other. Maybe there was time that I was playing in France and she was playing in Turkey, and it's very hard in those times to see each other, to keep the relationship going, like, strong. But what I think unite Kim and I is that we have the same values. So we are totally two different people, like totally different personalities, but we share the same values. So for us, this was, I think, a strength in our relationship, because I see things in one way, she sees things in another way, but eventually under the roof there are the same values that we want to pursue. So it's that's something that for sure brings us together all the time. When we played together, that was even more challenging, I think, because you live the same experience, you live the same practice, you live at the same time, everything is the same related to our job. And so when you go home, what do you do? What do you talk about? You talk about practice. Maybe sometimes it was hard because maybe I wasn't playing good, or maybe she wasn't playing good, and when you have your loved one that is struggling, you want to do everything to help this person, but sometimes you can do nothing. So it was hard to learn to just be the girlfriend or the wife, and not being a teammate when you are out of the court. But even that, I think we managed good. Like, we managed to get us even closer together. Kim for sure had some hard times here because we had 5 foreigners and only 4 can play in Italian league, so sometimes she had to sit out, and so it was very, very difficult at moments. But when you go home and then you have your peace, that for sure helps in every other aspect.
Yeah, it does look like you managed well all of these situations. And if you can take one characteristic that helped you through this, one thing that you did together that was able to help you manage all of these situations throughout your relationship and marriage, what would that be?
The love. I mean, for sure what keeps you together even when the times is hard is to know that in front of you you have the person that you feel that is your person, despite everything that can be hard, can be wrong, can be challenging. But then you're like, okay, would I share this with any other person that I know? And the answer for me, it's no. That's why, I've been knowing Kim we've been together now. She always makes fun of me because I have my way to count the years. I think 11, but could be 12. I don't know, because now she makes me. And there was not one day in 12 years that Kim and I haven't talked to each other, even when things were bad. We never lost that part of talking to each other, and I think that's what makes you overcome everything.
And since we are opening this kind of conversation, how is it being gay in this basketball world and pursuing your careers? And was it difficult at times, maybe at your beginnings and the coming out process for you? Can you share a little bit of that, if it's not too much to ask?
No, for sure. There was a moment where it was hard, when you're young and you're still trying to figure out who you are, what you want. You start to notice that maybe you like girls, and you're like, oh my God. And also, when I was young, we were talking about 20 years ago. Nowadays, it's way more open and way more easy to deal with. And then you are part of basketball world, and you know how it is. Everyone starts to talk, so you hear the voices. I think for me, the biggest fear that I had was to talk to my family about it, because my family is very, very important for me. We are very close. I'm very close with my parents. I'm very close with my brother. And I was scared that I was gonna disappoint them or lose them. When you're young, you think the worst. And I was lucky that when I opened up to them, they were understanding this, and they were supportive, and they never stopped loving me for the person that I am. And this really changed my entire perspective of this topic, because then at that point I didn't care about anyone else. Like, for me, the only thing that mattered was my parents and my family, or the close one, my close friends. But the rest became just noise. That eventually, it's funny, because when you're calm about it, no one talks about it anymore. It's just like, okay, it's like this, and we don't talk about it anymore. But I think for everyone is different, and they have a different journey about it. For example, Kim, super easy. Okay, I mean, the dad of Kim say, well, I've never seen Kim this happy before, so for me, whoever it is, it's fine. It's depends of the mentality, depends of everything. So everyone has their own path. I think I was lucky, and she was lucky too, and that changed everything.
Awesome. Okay, to go back to basketball now. So you started playing your first years in a professional league in Venice. You made your way through a few teams in Italy, and you left for 3 years, right, outside of Italy. How did this go? How did you feel playing here and then transitioning over there and making a decision to come back?
Well, after playing a lot of years, I played in Venice, then I played 1 year in Taranto, and then I played 5 years in Schio. And after the 5th year, I felt like it was time for me to move on, to see if out of my comfort zone I could still do good and be good, because I felt like I was kind of stuck. I don't know, like that I wasn't really making progress. And also, as I am as a personality, I need a challenge. I need challenge all the time, otherwise it becomes boring for me. And so this opened up the opportunity to go in France, where I stayed only till January, because then I went to Fener in Turkey. And for me it was an amazing experience, not just basketball talking, because basketball talking, it made me really realize and become aware of who I am inside the court. And so I was like, okay, I'm able to do this, even not just in my comfort zone, which is my home. Like, Schio is, I'm not from here, but for me, this is home. And for sure, and live talking, you have to deal with the other culture, especially in Turkey, it's another culture, but even in France, it's very different from Italy. And this just makes you grow as a person. And for me, in general, how I am living this life is like, want to learn, I want to know everything, I want to become better as a person besides basketball. So for me, that was awesome.
Yeah, and being a point guard is also a different story. Like I feel like for a point guard, you have to be the leader no matter what age you are, no matter in which stage of your career you are. You have to be the leader, and you have to be the person that's in between the players and the coaches. Was that ever a struggle for you?
I think when I was younger, I didn't think about it in this way. I was just trying to do my best without really understanding the role of the point guard. And only later on, I think after 25, I started to realize that it was not just, okay, manage the basketball part, but I think as a point guard and as a leader, you need to get to know your teammates. And I'm not talking about get to know what they like to do outside. That's, for me, that's a plus. I need to know what each of my teammates likes to do here on the court, because I need to make them in the position to do the best on the court. And I feel that came more natural with the experience, and also with the help of some coaches that start to teach me how to do this. I think it's not something that maybe some people have natural, and I think I have it natural, but I never thought about it that way. So I love this role because I'm not the kind of player, I thought I was when I was younger, that I needed to score, that I wanted to do 20 points every game, and if I was scoring 2, I was like, oh my God, I'm terrible. And now I really find beauty on just playing with my teammates and let them shine. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but for me this is the best thing and the best feeling I have. Then if I score, okay, I know I can do it, but it's not what defines me as a player.
Yeah, and I've noticed this, like knowing you for so many years and playing against you for so many years. I've noticed that your game also changed as you grew. And did you ever like have to think about adjusting your game to the moment where you are, where your body is, where your mentality is, where the team is going, the kind of players that are bringing? Like, was that also something that came naturally, or did you have to consider it and sit down and think and prepare yourself for it?
No, for sure it was. For sure there were some tough moments, because as I said to you before, like before I was thinking that, okay, if I don't score, my value is no value. And so there was a moment, I think, that you need to realize that higher you go with not just with your age or with your experience, but also if you play in better teams, your role needs to change. Like if you play in the bottom teams where you can shoot 50 times per game, it's different. I feel like here, especially when I was in Fener, that you start really to play with really high profile players, and then here in Skio 2 in the past few years we play with really good players. You need to know exactly your role. Like, it's not easy, because you're like, I'm like, okay, but I can do this too. Like, but okay, in order to win, in order to play, to get to the goal, you need to find your space into the team and you adjust. For me, this was survival. I don't know how to say. Like, I know that if I wanted to keep playing at this level, I needed to find my other way to play around it, because also you find different coaches that wants different things from you, and okay, you can agree, you can disagree, but if you want to play, eventually you have to adjust. So I think this came with experience and with knowing, being aware of the fact that I'm a person that can adjust. I don't think everyone can do this, and so I can adjust. So I'm okay with adjusting.
Yeah. Would you advise anybody that's watching, like, what is the best way to do that? It's
hard, because I think there are two answers, and one is depends who you are as a person. Like, if you're, it's like one person that goes and travels to, I don't know, let's say Madagascar, that's close to me, and you expect there to eat McDonald's, and you go there and you say, no, it sucks because I cannot eat McDonald's. Okay, but you're going in a place where you can't find McDonald's, so you need to open up your mind and see what else you can find. For me, it's the same in basketball. And I believe you play with so many players that were not able to see these other things. But so the first answer is, or you have it on you, or it's really hard to learn, I think. And the second is, set your priorities. What's your priorities? To play the best you can in this specific environment, with this specific coach, with this specific way to play that. Maybe it's not the best thing for you, but you can make the best out of it. And it's not easy. It wasn't easy for me. It was an adjustment, but as I said before, it's survival. If you want to play, this is the way you have to do it.
Yeah. For sure. I feel like also like being humble as a person helps you like see other people. Like you said, you need to read your teammates, your coaches, you need to find your own way and yourself, let yourself adjust to it too. Awesome, thank you. That was nice. But to go back to something you said, that there were times in your career where you felt like if you're not scoring, you don't have value. And us, for example, when we were younger, this was the thing, but not as much as today when you have the social media and everything plastered everywhere, and so many people having opinions on who you are and who you are not. And not many having an understanding of the basketball and actually us having value even if we are just on the bench at times, you know. So do you want to address this time that we are living at right now?
Hard times. Those are really hard times because as you say before, when we were younger, there was not all this background noise. And in the bad side, but also in the good side. Like now, I don't know, you make a special basket and the day after is in every social media and seems like you are the best player in the world, and maybe you are just like a normal player. It's also hard to manage all this information that come in. And I just think that for any young players, the thing that you have to stay focused is in what you love. Like it doesn't matter. I know it's easy to say now that we are older and we don't really care. It happens to me like in this year with younger teammates. Like, who cares? Like, okay, it's a bad game. Like, but that doesn't change your value. Who cares what the guy understands things? Like, just keep focusing on what you have to do and put the work in, and eventually the results will come. This is what I think. Now, what I thought before too, even if for sure there were moments where it was really hard for me to manage all the expectation, because since I was young, anyway, in Italy there was a lot of blah 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 and a lot of expectation about me, and I know it's hard to manage when it's young. That's why you have to pick your people. For me, the most important thing ever that I learned was pick your people, the one that are there on your high and they're there on your low. And that doesn't change nothing if you play a good game or if you play a bad game, and keep them close, because that's who gives you the power when the things goes wrong.
Awesome, awesome. And let's touch a little bit a topic of coaches. You've encountered a lot in your career for sure, and sometimes you agree with them, sometimes you don't, sometimes
mostly I don't.
And that's okay. You have to live with that. So then it's perfect. Question: How do you manage this relationship? Because still you have to spend a year, 2, 3, or however many with this person and people. Actually, there's more than just one. And how do you manage these relationships, and what were you able to learn in this aspect?
This is a very interesting question, because of course also this changes with time. So I'm just gonna answer it to you as it is for me right now. For me right now is, first of all, we are on the same boat. You, coach, and me, Giorgia, are on the same boat, and we are all going in the same direction. It happened to me that I don't maybe agree with the tactics, but eventually I also respect the role. I respect the role that the coach have, is put there for a reason, and it happened that I have coaches that I didn't like at all. But once I'm on the court, if the coach tells me go around through the wall, I go around through the wall, because that's the only way we can do it. Of course, with times you grow relationship, and maybe sometimes also with George it happened, and he's like, okay, Joe, now do this, and maybe I'm like, George, what do you think? Maybe I feel more comfortable doing this. But you build the relationship and the trust where you can say this thing, and maybe it's like no, or maybe it's like, oh yeah, okay, I think it can work. Let's do your way. But it's all about the relationship that you create, and you find a way to communicate as best as you can with your coach. There are even in this, there are people that are able to do this and people that are not able to do this. I think for my role as a point guard, or also as a captain in this team, I have to find the way to arrive to do this. But I think at the base is that the coach needs to know that even if you dislike him, you still trust him in the moment that we go on the court. And for me, this is the base to build everything else.
Yeah. Do you have your own team of people when you are outside of the season who prepare you?
No, I don't have. Usually here with the trainer, we manage the load during the summer. But okay, yes, I have a basketball coach in my city that I go during summer, but it's not something that I'm like, okay, I have my team. And I think if I would go back with time, though, I would build my team for the moments, the off season. But like till a few years ago, there was no summer, like, because you play with the national team until the end of June. Okay, maybe then you have July that you take off a little bit, but then in August you start again. So it's not like you have so much time. I think this summer I will start to work with someone more to arrive in August to manage all the little problems that I have. That it's normal with the age.
Yeah, and you mentioned national team, and that's also a beautiful topic, at least for me. I love playing for my national team, and just the pride that I feel, putting on that jersey. And you've been the captain, you've been playing for all the selections, and that journey was for all of us different at times. But how does that, now that you reflect on it, how does that feel for you?
Well, national team for me is still like a little painful topic, because the way it ended, I think it was not the way I deserve it to end it. And that really made me suffer for a couple years. Like, I couldn't hear about national team, and I was crying thinking about national team, because as you say, for me, it was a pride to wear that jersey, and I really valued the moment, where you put on the jersey and you have the name of your country on your chest. For me, it was the best feeling that I've ever had in sport. And it was very sad the way I think they treated me at the end. There is a lot of stories behind about the way they cut me and blah, blah, blah. The truth will never come out. But now I think I moved on. Like, I know I won't be ever part of national team again, and I just hope they can do the best in the future, even without me, like they did till now. But if I could go back, I wish I had a better ending for sure.
Definitely, that is painful, and I've seen it with few other players and lived these moments with them. How did you cope?
Bad, bad, because the story behind my cut was not simply basketball talking. There were other things behind it, and which no one will ever admit, but it's like this. And I could understand if you cut me because there is someone better and you are unable to play now, so your time has come. But it was in 2019, so we're talking about 6 years ago, where I still was on my prime, I think. and I was still gonna be able to play for national team on my top for other years. I still think I could play now, but when they come to you and they're like, yeah, it's tactical choice, I don't believe it. Like, I'm sorry, I don't believe it, because back in the days there was really no one that could cover my role. But with all the respect for all the girls that went, that's not the point. Like, that's really not the point. The point is simply like, it was really, really, really hard. And for the first 2 years, as I say, like, you couldn't speak to me about national team. Like, I would start crying, I would start to think about it, and you know, it's simply sad. Like, it's the thing that you care the most, and I dedicated summer over summer over summer since I was 13 years old, every summer in national team. And you, as an athlete, when you put so much effort in something, you think they owe you a little bit of respect. The thing is that in this world, no one owes you nothing. And I learned it this way, and now I can talk about it without crying and without, oh my
Your
God.
eyes are a little bit teary.
Yeah. No, still, I will always have emotion when I talk about national team, because there is always the thought of, I wish I knew that was my last game, you know? I wish I knew. My last game, I scored 20 points. And the 3 days after, I know you're not part of national team. And, you know, it's like, okay, I wish I knew it. To just simply enjoy it, like, okay, that was my last game, I gave it all. But I mean, this happens, and it's okay. I learned a lot from it.
Yeah. Did it shake your confidence going forward?
No, for sure no, because I knew that was not for tactical reason that I wasn't called anymore. So sometimes people are like, yeah, that should lit a fire to get it back to you. I'm like, lit a fire. Like, my fire is always there. Like, I didn't need this to lit my fire inside. I have the fire. I will always have the fire, and but simply they made this choice.
Yeah. And let's talk about a little bit the court stuff. Like, when you get on the court, what is your routine game day wise? Like, how do you prepare yourself, and how do you go into the game? And if the game goes your way, it's normally okay. But also, like, let's address those moments when it's not always easy and not always a great start. What is the inner talk?
This I had to learn during the years, and there was a moment where I was working also with a mental coach to manage also this part. But now it's funny, because all this went away when Alice came. All my routines are totally blown up. There is not a routine anymore. You know, before I would be very strict, and Kim as well. I don't know, you eat, you go to sleep, and then you wake up, you eat your snack, and you go to the game. And now it's like, yeah, no, there is not this anymore. Like, you eat and you hope that you can sleep, because you never know when she wakes up. Then you wake up and you have to take care of her, because she is the priority. I had this conversation with Kim not long ago. I'm like, I don't have a routine anymore. Like, it's completely at the moment, like, you live in the moment 100%.
But I think it's also great.
It's better. I'm like, I wish I had Alice before, because you don't overthink about it. But at the same time, I think Alice came in a moment where my experience is high, that when I walk into here, I can snap into it. And this, I probably wouldn't be this easy if before I didn't do the steps that I did. Before, it was really like I had to mentally prepare. I think sometimes a little bit too much, that it also overdrives you. So you need to find the right balance. But I mean, now it just makes me laugh, because I'm like, I really don't have a routine anymore. Like, it's crazy. And when you go home, it went good, it went bad, you can't think about it. Like, you have other things that are way more important than basketball to care about. You need to give food to your kid, you need to bring her to bed, and maybe she doesn't want to sleep, so you need to cuddle her. So it's really a totally different story, and I'm sorry that I don't kind of remember how it was before, because
no, for me, like personally, I felt at one point that all those routines that I've had, even coming into the warm-up and doing like every specific thing, I had all these, but then I felt like also there were limitations.
Oh yeah.
Because if at one point something doesn't go the way it was supposed to in my head, you know, I'm losing it.
And you're like, oh my God, now it's gonna go bad.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, when you will have a kid, you will not have this problem.
I'm not gonna be playing at that point.
But no, for sure there are still things that when I walk into the gym, I like to do my way. Like I have my routine with the lifting program, with the shooting, but it's not anymore defining how my game will go.
Exactly.
Like it's really, I'm like, okay, I've learned that I can play good even if I totally fucked up my routine. And this is something that I wish I could teach the younger player, but there is not really a way to teach them this, because it's also for me, maybe if all this didn't happen, I would still doing the same routine over and over. But it's just sometimes to let go and be more present. Like, I don't know, it's just about being present in the moment, that all the rest is just bullshit.
And when you get on the court and the game actually goes your way or it doesn't go your way, what are the differences? What is something that you tell yourself in those moments?
Calm, just keep calm, because not everything depends from you. Not everything depends on what you're doing. You're playing a team sport, so it depends from a lot of factors just outside yourself. Keep calm, do what you know you have to do, and for sure there are moments that you lose it, because I mean, we are humans, we can always keep it in balance, but when you know who you are and what you can bring to the table, I think it's easier also to keep calm. It happens to me, it still does happen to me that I have bad games, but I don't make it like a sickness. I'm like, okay, I had a bad game, let me rewatch it, let me see what I did bad and what I can improve. Because if I learn something working with a mental coach, is that everything that goes bad can be a way to learn something new. And also when things goes good, or you think they go good, when you go rewatch the game, maybe you're like, maybe it wasn't that good, you know, maybe I did some mistakes here and there too. So if you look the good or if you look the bad, remember that there is always a balance between the two things.
And you rewatch your games always, or has that come with experience too?
No, okay, now that I have a busy life outside the court, less, but till 2 years ago, till before Alice, I was most likely rewatching myself very often, because I think for me that's the only way that I can really learn about myself and about the team, because when you do the team meetings, it's more like a general picture. But when you're sitting in your room and you're just watching yourself, you can really see the details and what you can do better and what you can do, you can change with this thing or the other thing. But when I was younger, I had to be guided to do this, because otherwise you open and you're like, oh, I did an amazing basket. But no, you have to...
Or other way around.
Yeah, or oh my God, I suck. Yeah, you need to know what to look, and I think there should be figures that helps you to do this, because it's hard to learn yourself what to look.
That's awesome. I actually had a few conversations with younger players who are not able to watch their games, and I just know how important it is and how much better you can get from doing that. And I thank you for sharing your side of the story, because I really feel it's very important.
But because I think it's painful to rewatch, you know, especially after a bad game. I don't know, you lose a game and the coach the day after is like, let's go watch video.
Yeah, maybe
my
give
God.
yourself a little time, few days to calm down and to see that it's not the end of the world first of all.
Yeah, exactly.
And then look at yourself and the things that you're doing and learn from it.
But sometimes also when you think you did so bad, then you rewatch yourself and you're like, okay, I could do better, but I didn't do that bad.
Yeah.
And the way around, as I said
Yeah.
before. But yeah, watching yourself, I think, is the easiest way to improve.
I'm going to ask you something that I also heard from a player that I was talking about this. She said that when she rewatches her games, she hears the voice of a person, of a coach who was always criticizing her in a very bad way, you know. And I was trying to help her and tell her like that she needs to rewrite this story in herself, you know. Have you had this experience? Can you give insight on this?
I first of all take out the volume. Take out the volume in your head, and I think it depends also where you put the focus in. You need to learn. I think that's when I did the step of awareness that really makes me live basketball better, is when I learned who I am as a player, in a way that whatever noise comes in, I can block it, because there will always be the coach or the teammate that makes the face, and you're like, oh my God, the teammate made me a face. What did I do wrong? There will always be this. In any category, any year, any season, I always found at least one time this thing. But eventually, first of all, be forgiving with yourself. We are not perfect. Like, we are human. Everyone makes mistakes. And second, just focus on you. Especially when you rewatch yourself, focus on you and what you did wrong. Maybe the coach that is yelling you names is the one wrong, and you can see it on the video and you're like, okay, there it could be right, I did a mistake, but here, look, I did good. He's human too, eventually. Coaches are humans too, we forget that too. And so just focus on yourself and focus on what you can do better to improve, and let all the rest out.
Awesome. And let me ask you about the pressure that you probably feel in those moments right now that we are talking. You are in playoffs, and obviously ski always has high expectations going into the preseason. Yeah. And especially in these moments, how do you deal that and how did that change over the years?
Yeah, it's, I mean, when you play in teams, for example, like now, like Skio, that there is no other answer than winning. Like, there is no, the loss is not considerable. It's very challenging, because you know that if you make a mistake, can fuck up all the season, and you can be the one that like, I made a mistake and now we lost. But that's the responsibility you have when you go in the high-level teams. So what kind of player you want to be? You want to be the kind of player that plays for, okay, let's play and enjoy, or you want to be the kind of player that plays in teams that wants to win, first of all. And second, with the time, this comes easier. Like, I told to young players, I'm like, now it seems the end of the war. Now it seems like, oh my God, disaster. But this is just lesson. Everything that you go through is lesson. And now that, as I said before, like with Alice, everything changed perspective. It's like, oh my God, I suffered so much in the past for what? Like, those are just steps and process that you do to grow up and to arrive at this moment where, okay, Friday we have the final. And if I think at my first final, probably I was already shitting in my pants 10 years ago. Now I'm just like, okay, let's go, let's do it. We worked all season to arrive here. So we're ready. We're ready to play our best. Can go good, can go bad, because you have to consider that there is another team that worked all season to arrive here. But if you go in and you do all your best, then you go out of the court and you're like, okay, this time didn't go good, but we did the best we could. I think this is what happened last year, that we lost. Of course it's sad, of course it's you go home and you're like, fuck, I could have done that better, I could have do this better. But eventually you know that you put the work in and the result didn't come. Moving on. Yeah. I mean, you cannot do, it's not the end of your life. There will be another challenge the year after.
Yeah. So now that I've learned so much about you, so much more than I knew, and all the wisdom and that you gained from your experiences, I just want to ask you about the next step. You already mentioned that you don't really attach your identity just to basketball, and I love that. And how much longer do you want to play, and what do you see as your next step?
I'm going a little bit with the feeling of my body right now, because of course when time goes you have more pains here and there. I think I want for sure to play another season, and then I'm kind of also excited to see what comes next. I know it's not gonna be easy, the transition, because when you dedicate your whole life to something and knowing that that something is gone, like you cannot redo anything, and it's a part of your book that is gonna be closed. It's really hard to process, but in the other side, I'm also excited to see what will come next. I know, as I told you before, I have a lot of interest in other things. I'm a little bit scared of. I think the main thing that I personally am scared of is what will I do to provide for my family or to keep having an income, because we are not men players that made millions. I know I've been very smart with my money, so I know I have a calm behind me, but at the same time I know I will have to find something. This is, I think, my biggest fear, because even if you prepare, eventually you don't really know which opportunity will come. But I want to be positive and also think that once I will stop, doors will open for me in other subjects of life. So I can't tell you right now what I will do. I can tell you what I dream to do, and which is what your video guy is doing, and keep taking care of my kids in Madagascar, maybe focusing more on that and giving back to. Basketball gave so much to me, and for me it's important to try to give back to who is not as lucky. And those are my two main things. And then I hope to still, biggest desire is to still have so much time to spend with my kid and with Kim, and because that's something that as a player we're lucky. Like now I go home and I can stay all afternoon with my kid. I don't have to work till 8 at night or 6. And that's something that Kim and I don't take for granted. We know that we are very lucky for that, so I hope to find something that still gives me time to spend with my family.
Could we see another book coming?
Yes, I'm thinking about writing a new book, and for sure I will write a new book. I hope 1 year from now it will be out.
Nice. Nice, looking forward
this
to
is
that.
A spoiler.
Thank you so much. This was awesome. I love the messages that you sent across, and I really thank you for your career and for the wisdom that you have shared from your life experiences in basketball.
Thank you for inviting me. It was nice to finally speak outside the court.
Yeah, not play against each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks.
Jovanović